Hello everybody, Alex here, and in this video we're going to talk on my channel about the Google Cloud Functions, how you can use them in Make, which is my preferable no-code platform, or you can do it in any type of code thing that you use. So what is the short description of Google Cloud Platform? It's actually your like a small cloud server that can execute custom code almost any kind, right? And you can utilize it. So for example, I got task to upload the file from the URL to Google Drive. So Google Drive by default is not supported. Make modules also do not have this native functionality. So I just use Google Cloud Functions to do it. So as you see here, it's a URL to Cloud Functions. This is the thing that I send it over, which is literally a direct URL to a file, which is here, right? So this is the video of whatever length. And we do have also a file name and folder ID where exactly I want to send it, and the future file name. So this is the folder, right? So what we have here, we go into remove now, and I'm going to send this file over to my Google Drive folder, or actually Google API. And this should take a couple of seconds, probably more. And in this video, we're going to look exactly how to do it from the scratch, if you're even completely beginner. So as you see, we got 200. So we got the new file ID and the new name for our file of video, and video uploaded here. So we can probably already see it. Maybe it will take some time Google to process it, because it processes the videos in their like YouTube kind of style. But I got a point, and let's start over with a full thing. So what is Google Cloud Functions, how to achieve it, and so on and so forth. So I'm going to start with my like default screen of Google Cloud Function, which you can find if you just type console.cloud.google.com or just Google Cloud Functions, or Google Cloud Console actually, right? And we're going to start to completely from scratch. So as soon as you logged in, you probably won't see like, besides the greeting, you shouldn't see anything else, and you need to start with a new project. So that's what I'm going to start. So starting completely from the scratch, we'll name it Cloud Functions Demo, say. Okay, and I'm going to create it. So to do it, also you will need to add your payment information. So don't worry, it won't charge you. And also you can go with either paid account, as I have right now here, or a free one, which is totally the same. So if we go into check Google Cloud Functions price, so you will find that it literally takes almost nothing from you. And actually, as you see, so literally 2 first million runs of your thing of execution will be a free, and beyond of this will be like 2 million, so it will be price per million, like a nothing. Okay, so this is compute time, memory, and so on. What are you going to use? It depends on the server that you're going to select. It will be more expensive, right? So to just save your time, I also will talk quickly about the data. So inbound data, it's a gigabyte price. This, right? Outbound data, it's you have 5 gigabytes free. But if you go into, you see the outbound, it's actually $12 per gigabyte. And outbound per month, you have also 5 gigabytes free quota. Inbound data, all free, and outbound data to Google APIs, which is actually our Google Drive. It's also free. So technically, this is completely free for you and for this particular use case. Let's start with it. So again, as I mentioned, you might need to add, or actually you will need to add your payment information. Just a card won't charge you max $1 just to Google identification. I think no, will be in your billing. We'll show you like, okay, add the thing. And then as soon as we are here, we start with the cloud function. So we do not need too much things to spend, and everything actually we need we will be prompted to add and do. So I will start with a new cloud function thing. So if you won't be able to see the cloud functions here, which you actually by default won't, right? I will even unpin this. So see, it disappeared. You can go to more products if you want, find the cloud functions, you can scroll it, you can even open to like all of this, or you can do Control F or Command F on Mac and just type something like a function. So this will find it on a page, and you type a pin to pin it to your menu. So then if you open this once again, it should be here in list of pinned things. So let's double check. So this is cloud function, and you can actually move it, which is cool. It should be available to move. If it's not, then you just click this one, edit, right, and you do it. So I put it near cloud run or cloud storage, for example. Done. So now I have my cloud function. I can access it anytime I want. Really quick in this project, right? And it's actually, the menu will be, should be the standard for anyone. See what I got? I actually haven't opened my project yet, because this is the old one and it takes some time to create the new project. So I'm going to switch to it. You're also you should go and select your new project, right? So we going to have this menu as we configure it for any project. The rest will be kind of different for your new project, right? So see, we are here, and you will be asked again about the payment method if you haven't added it yet for whole account. I did, so I'm fine. And then we're starting to create a function. So that will ask us for something that we're not added yet. So because we need to have some API added to our project to make it happen. So I will just click enable. This, as you see, will spin in progress to enable several of our APIs. Let me just remove this camera so you won't struggle with the space here. Okay, and then we got in this nice menu. So what we're going to use here, and what is this? So you're going to probably use always Gen 2, which is second generation of these functions. Name of your function, so say upload demo, I will call it. This will be like a function name that you will see in list, and so on and so on. So you can select your region, right, or just use default one. Technically closer to your server or the servers that you use. I make it US, so it's again US server is most logical for it. And that's what we have. So we go in this video discuss the unauthenticated, right, which is open. So anyone can literally execute this code if they know the URL, right, and what exactly to send. Because we do this for internal purposes, there is no reason to hide it. I do have additional materials on how to send it with a request, how to build applications, and so on. But this we're going to just talk about the open one, which is kind of that you potentially going to use, right? In this particular worst case scenario, what you're risking is someone will upload a file to your folder, right? So no one will be able to access it anyway. So what I'm going to do is set my function thing. So we have to set several important things here. So first of all, I'm going to set the 2 GB server. You can do a couple CPUs. It doesn't really matter too much. For the timeout, it's a time how long our kind of function can run at all. I can set 300 seconds because it depends on the file size, right? So it may take some time to download. What it actually does, it download the file first, right, to this virtual machine, because it's actually a Linux virtual machine what we'll use here, and then it will use Google API to upload it. So I won't change this maximum concurrent request because I do not supposed to whatever 10 users use it at the same time, but you can. And as you saw, the minimums literally are really big, right? So you can even use it for like more users than just one. So that's actually okay-ish. What we have here, it's a user. So the problem or the thing is we're going to need to have some user to execute it, because when you send something to Google API, which will be a Google function in this case, we will use a Google Functions API to execute this function remotely, okay? So for this, you need to have some user which will be authorized. So we need to do it on behalf of some user. So what we're going to use will be our default service user. So as you see here, right, so it already exists and it's automatically created as soon as you done it. You can add your own user, but we will use this engine default service one for now. So let's continue to proceed. Okay, so let's continue to our code itself. So we don't need actually too much things because we have this build and we have again service user. For build, it means test environment, as I understand, that will be used for testing our code. So then again, I do not have any like limitations or security things here, and we can just proceed. So important to keep our runtime settings more or less in a scope that we expect to use, and that's it. So we again we will have allow unauthenticated invocations enabled, right? So anyone can send the request to this URL. So we won't use special authorization to this, okay, in this simple video. So then we click next, and this will ask us again couple of things such as Cloud Run Admin API, because that's exactly what will allow us to execute these functions, right, on behalf of the user, and so on, so on. So this will take another second or so. And after this, we should be able to proceed to the code itself. So that's actually a place where we're going to build a code. As you see, you can select several of most popular runtimes to run your code, and languages definitely to write it. So we have .NET, we have Go, we have Java, we have Node, PHP, Python, and Ruby. So basically almost anything that you actually can find if you need run some library or so. So I will go to select Node 20, default one, and now we're going to actually build a code. So I will use GPT for it. I have a function that's already built. We're going to compare how it will create it, and you never know with the current, at least, LLMs, right? But it should be capable enough to build it for us. And actually, this one built completely with a GPT. I just did a couple of iterations with a test. Yeah, and add the parameters. So initial one was just the file URL, and then I added the folder to reference it, and the file name, and so on, maybe some instruction what to return back. So let's start with it, and I'll show you a quick prompt. I will try to use 3.5 first because you might not have the paid one. I actually use the paid one definitely, but let's start with this one. So what you type, so create Google Cloud function, a code for Google Cloud function. This is important because it should know the format. To, and then upload file from URL provided in request or payload to the Google Drive folder, which ID I will also provide, and I'll provide a new file name. Super clumsy, but GPT should understand it. You can try to use actually we saw the Gemini somewhere here on the main screen, right? The Google one you can use. Also Cloud LLM. I just prefer the GPT as I work with this one. Yeah, or you can even go with I don't know, something different like free models. So yeah, and what is important also, I will just, we need to specify two more things, because for that specific task at least, I will use a key, as you see, a JSON, right, for authorization, because we need somehow authorize our access to the Google Drive, right? It's important. So we can command the function to, and it's open free function, right, to download the file from the URL, but we need to have a permission to upload file to a folder unless you're going to make it public, but it's stupid, right? So also I will provide, and here you will say JSON of JSON with service user private key. So this will work on almost any Google APIs that you're going to use if you will use the Google API, right? In file, I will just name it key JSON. So this requires for our future code to reference this one. So as an example, in my already existing working function, right? We should be able to find it somewhere here. Oops. Let's find this one. So key. See here, right? So we it shows the file name, and it's actually command where to take the parameters for the authentication, right? So it says a new constant, like a variable, and it says the path to it will be key JSON, which is file in here. Okay, so same I will say for this guy. Also, I will need package JSON. So what is package JSON? It's a JSON file with a list of all our additional tools, libraries you may call them, right, that we need to use. So for example, in my case here, I use, as you see here, the Google API for Google Drive, right? I will use the Axios to perform API calls. I use the stream to, I don't know if I use it, probably no, but you can ignore it. These two, so I do use path, which is also like a library to access files in local storage, which actually we have here, because this, again, it's an emulation of the server. It's like literally 3 files which exist on your virtual server machine, which is Cloud Function actually is. Okay, and let's start to test this out. So we should get 3 files, more or less. One is just a reference for it. And as you see, we got more or less similar code written for us. So I do see that this is my function already created. So these constants, it declares the constants or variables, right? Actually constant, because the value is not changeable, to call again. Google, they will use then it in this, for example, in this, right? So it uses Google APIs. For it, then we have storage from Google Cloud Storage. Not sure if this is correct one, because here I do not have it. Let's see how this will work. So we have Axios again to perform API calls back and forth, because we need to do a call to Google API, right? So we return the data also. And we have the FS, which is file system. It's a bit different than path, but idea is more or less the same. Okay, so see here, we will use FS to get a file. Yeah, it's actually here. Authorization out key file key JSON. So probably this automatically means that JSON file it here, but it's just a function, right? We're defining key JSON, and then I see it here. So let's see if this will work. And this is our file for the packages, right? So what you do here is several things. So let's go to create our code. I'll show you what to do. This is, again, super universal action for any function that you're going to do, at least on a node, right? So you paste the code. It should have a main function, which usually will be export dot and function name. some constants. At least that's how GPT generated. And what you need to do is the entry point. So this is name of your function, which you're actually going to invoke. This is first, and you see our some warning disappeared. So I put just copy of my function name to this. Means what function you're going to invoke when you run this whole thing, right? Then our packages JSON, it already has Google Cloud Function Framework, storage. Okay, I would prefer keep this for sure, because this is the function itself. It's okay to keep something extra, right? Even if you don't use it. What you also need to add is these, like dependencies. This will be our dependencies which we're going to use, right? You don't need the name of your package thing. You just need to have all your dependencies listed here, because they will be used when you will click this magic button, which will happen almost soon, let's say. Okay, so we have two our files pre-configured. We don't know if this works yet, but we're missing one important, which is key.json. So you need to create it. I'm going to add it. So just, you saw this plus button, right? So you just click the plus button, then you just give it a name. So in my case, it will be key JSON. You can do any name actually, right? But I said I will use key JSON. It uses key JSON name here. So we assume this is correct. And now we go into authorization part. So when we created our kind of project and then started to create the cloud functions, system automatically created for us a service user. So you can go in here in your menu and then identity access management, right? An admin, and find this part which calls service user, service account, right? So this service accounts, it's like a user, but a service one, which we going to use. So as you see here, we got this cloud function demo user, and you remember when we created the function, I'll show you in this one. It's a different project, right? Just to show you how it works. When we created the one, we saw this drop down, right? In our run and build, we saw this like a default compute service account, right? So this is something, an App Engine service account. So we will see. So this will be App Engine probably. So that will be used. So how you can check it? I prefer to save everything first, and then see it. Let's try to go back, but this will for sure spoil our code that we just created. But I'm going to double check it. So see App Engine default service account. So cloud functions demo for 20 something. So this is our thing, right? That we need to have a key from. For this, you just open it and go to keys, and you click on add key, create key, and JSON format. So we just downloaded our file. It's now in our downloads. Let's hope that we still have our code and all parameters set. No, actually, see, it spoiled the code because it was not saved. So I'm going to quickly redo it. I will just paste this one, and I will add the packages also here. So make sure you put a comma, because it's like an enumeration. You should have a valid JSON, and our key JSON file. So for key JSON, I'm going to just paste the value of it. If you're on Mac, you can just click just a space on a file to preview it and copy all text, and then paste it here. I'll show you more or less how it works. Just like this, right? So you go to your file that you download, I click space, it previews the file, you copy this, and you paste it in here. Okay, so that's, see, it contains all the data And the most important, it's your private key, which will be used for authorization. And everything will happen automatically. So we almost good with all of this. And now we can try to do a test. But as you see, because I redid it, I have this one. The specified entry key point, blah, 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 doesn't work because I need to, again, paste my function in entry point. So now we kind of okay. We can click this magic button, which is test. So what does this test? It literally will start to build for us machine to test the whole thing. Okay, and it will start as soon as it will provisioned. It will show us a console for kind of troubleshooting. So let's go real quick in here to see what we have as a parameters. Okay, this is response, upload file, create, blah, blah, blah. File path. So see, now we build in literally a Docker machine, right? A Docker container for our testing. I do not understand still where I need to have this. Okay, so looks like, yeah. So see here, it expects the data. Yeah, it's awesome actually. Even 3.5 does it properly. It expects these parameters will be sent in our request body, which is our invocation. So we're going to call this whole function as an API key with these 3 parameters. So to test this whole thing, what you do is you need to pretend that you will send that thing some body, right, with some parameters. And these parameters will be our things here. So you just add literally a collection of parameters. It should be a valid JSON in here. So you add file URL, which will be some URL here. Then you add your new file name, right? So this will be a file name for our new file, as we asked actually at GPT. And we're going to have a folder ID, which are our folder ID. Okay, so we're good with this one. And now we just need the parameters, so which we are missing. So I do have existing file already, and it should be a direct URL to download. So if you use the Dropbox, you need to modify your file as if you have something different than DL, so it should be a dl.dropbox. And you should remove all these DL, EQ. Oh, it should be www. If you just create a link, it will be W. So you replace W's to DL. And if you have something like, if I'm not mistaken, it's a DO equal 1, like a download, or D equal 1 or 0, you just remove this parameter. So you have direct link, and as a confirmation, when you open it, it should propose you to save the file, right, as like a direct file, or just direct link to your URL. It could be S3 or whatever place, but it should be direct link. The name I will use MP4, so let's use some name and the URL, right? So let's just put it. You actually can, when you create a function, you can give it a name at once if you have some payload, or you will use mine, right? So to just copy paste it. So I do add file name. I do add the name will be say demo mp4, and we're missing actually 2 things, but I want to show you first. Will be demo mp4, and then some file folder URL, right? Folder ID. Where you take folder ID, it will be your Google Drive folder where you want to upload your files. And definitely, you don't only add it, you need to give the user permission also to use this folder, because this folder belongs to my regular user, right? And we're going to use it by the service one. So for this, I simply, again, in this case, we simplify things. I will share my folder and will add the user to it. So for this, My service user, you remember we got it. It's I am admin and the server's accounts, right? I simply copy its email in details, or you can go here, or you can actually take it from here, right? So remember, we have our private, and it's a client email. So you can copy this whole email, and I will share this folder with this guy. Literally will invite this guy, we'll give them editor. That's it. So this will allow M to, or service user, right, share anyway, to work with this folder. So we almost good, and we ready for our first test. I do not know if this will work actually, but let's try. So we have this payload. I would recommend you to copy it to just reuse if something. Make sure it's a post request, right? So and this with this one again, we're going to send the body to this function, which contains some parameters that will be parsed, hopefully correctly, and will be executed to access our file. I'm missing intentionally one important thing. It's a Google Drive API, but I want to just test if this will work first, just to understand, because we haven't added to our project access to Google APIs. And let's see if this will work. So Google Drive API has not been used in a project, blah, 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 which is awesome, right? Because the rest, hopefully, worked. So at least we built a machine, at least it parsed the parameters, hopefully properly. And let's do it. So how you add the API, super simple. Even though Google proposed us everything, right? For cloud functions, we still need to, because we want to use some another API. So you just open your menu again in APIs, and you simply add a drive. The REST APIs should be actually already at place. You can just search by drive. We definitely need Google Drive API, not drive labels. So you click enable, wait for a second until it will be active, and after that, we at least should not have that error anymore. So let's test this once again. And let's wait the result. It's definitely failed because it never works from the first time. But restart is not a function, which is not bad. And this actually claims on this part, I believe. Usually Google, for some reason, this doesn't work for me when I generate this with ChatGPT. We won't go in deep in code things, right, to understand why it's so, but just to take it from the example, I do have it built like this. So rest status 500, and in status OK, we do send file back. So we can try to even remove the whole response part, or at least comment it. To comment as any editor, you have comment and backslash or forward slash, right? So this now is commented. We can try to test this once again and save. So Control S to save. Save functionality is not supported. Yeah, but it actually should be auto saved. Let's try to test it once again to see if our not file function shutting down. Okay. Files to deploy. Please check cloud shell. Okay, so we got our first code initially failed. Let's quickly change it and see if our GPT-4 will make it better for us. And we actually have one which is working right away. So this is the version number 4, because we don't want to dig super deep, right, in the things. Node fetch. Google APIs. I already see the issue, probably, right? Because we do not send the key JSON in the request, even though we have this path here. I'm not sure where it's used. Temp, join, new file, file temp buffer. So looks a bit non-correct for me. So I will just go and paste my current working code. As I said, it's like not automatic, right? Can't work automatically all the time as soon as you put it in a GPT. So I will just add my current code here, and I will also need to fix the packages. You will get this code using the link under the video, so don't worry. And let's add also this packages. It says the functionality does not support. So what I have to do first, it's a fix upload file to drive thing here. It's funny, but the name is the same, right? So name, use it in our generated by GPT, and all one works. And I can now, because this already, checked and tested, I can just copy paste my code from the test code from make, where I use it to test it already. Okay, so this is my file name, this is my folder with a folder ID, and let's try to do it now, where we have our code fixed. So again, my point is to show you how to set the Google Cloud project, not how to generate the working code from the first time. The idea is you can create a code which can be executed right in Google virtual machine, actually, which called Cloud Function, because it's a like idea is like you send this some data to this Cloud Function, performs the test, and it returns you the value. So I put the name of 2, but we can test this probably once again. So let's wait a second. Let's go to check our file. If it's uploaded, we can actually go and immediately clean this up also. And you know what? It's interesting, but I noticed it was a demo file. So maybe even initial code was working. We just had an issue with these like responses, right? Sent back and forth. So I haven't checked it, but it looks like even the initial one partially was working. So let's see where we at with our tests now. Okay, and I want to set demo test something, just a bigger one to make sure we're testing, and run this test again to see how this will work. It again, it has just this one, which is okay, but I do see file uploaded successfully an ID. So there's just a response. You may just completely ignore it. It's a test code. It's not supposed to be like ideal and perfect. This is just a demo video. And here, right, you see we got this video already uploaded. So this just proves that it's not like a rocket science to build this code, right? So like even my initial version with the GPT was working, just had an issue with the responses. But now we already tested this and we are ready to deploy. So I click the deploy button. That means our function will be like a deployed, not in a test one, but in a real one, in a real sort of like a version where we can then call it and use it. So let's wait a second. It should take about a minute. I will pause real quick, and then we'll test this on the real API thing. Okay, so our build is finished. So now it creates the service, right, to run it. And this service is actually something that we're going to use, right, to kind of send our data. So it will use this URL now, and then this data will be parsed, sent to this kind of virtual machine or something, which all of this calls like a just cloud function. So for this, I'm going to clone my thing here, simply because it's an open function once again. So I just need to paste the URL. So you see it contains some your instance, blah, blah, blah. And then after the slash, we have the name of our function. So you remember uploaded them or the name we'll be giving it. I use my code, so these data will be the same. We do not send the body, as you see here, comparing to our test, just because the body itself will be sent by make, right? So this request, the whole request, it's a body actually. And I will also double test this to see it's uploaded. Now it deployed completely. So, and we will also have this logs ability to check it. So we will try to test this right now with a new URL. It takes some time, so it's a good sign, right? So it's not failed, and it's going to upload the thing. So I will also, at the same time, so C200, and I gave it the same name, which actually different from the one that we had. But now we do have two files already here, which is awesome. The first one may be already available. Yeah, see, it's already rendered. So it's great. And the last small piece that we're missing, it's just, okay, why should we use make? No, you shouldn't, like, or you're not obligated to use the make. What you can do, you can just use any no-code platform. I just prefer make, or just use your Postman, right? So same thing here and here, right? So we're going to send a JSON. I just copy paste this, will be post request body and the row and JSON. So if I paste this guy here, that should do totally same thing. The wrong name, but it's fine. It should return the same thing, like a new file ID and name, which is done, right? So let's call it Postman test, right? And send. So this will show you how to execute completely custom code thing, right, on Google Cloud Function, and be able, it's not, you're not obligated to use libraries and so on, so you can just create more simple API code. But I wanted to show you initially, and the whole idea of this thing will show you, so even using some more or less complex tasks, which are, you maybe would never do it on your own. With the LLMs, it's relatively simple, right? So couple tests back and forth, and you should be able to make it work. And if you're actually giving the these errors to your the cloud, you will see their response. So now you can jump to logs, and you will see all details about any request and everything that you send. So see all these data, products, blah blah blah, resources, and that's exactly how this executes. So now you have all these abilities to see your source code, change it, right? So you have these details about your machine metrics. It will appear, see already here, with the statuses and graphs and logs and so on. So you have option again to test this out once again. So you can do a body if you want, and run this function. So this is the power and the nice about Google Cloud Functions and how you can use it. So this gives you this super nice machine that help you to execute it. And now because this is open function, like you can just send the data here, will be executed either using make or any other type of code platform, or your APIs were just fine. So it took for me with you all together about like 40 minutes with all these explanations and so on to create it. And as soon as you build it once, it will be like twice or 3 times faster as soon as you have the environment set, right? So, and you just want to add a new function, it will be definitely way more faster. If you click create function, you're already here, you have the user, you have your keys, you have your everything, right? And you can do it. So you can use, again, required authentication. This will also require from you to completely authorize your request, not just like this, not anyone, but only you with a specific encryption and actually specific API. It's that it doesn't support like a regular JOT and OAuth or something. You have to specify and do some specific super duper secret requests that Google invented for you. But again, I have all these materials, so reach out to me if you need anything about it. So if this is interesting, please like, subscribe, leave the comments and the questions. And if you want to know more, I'm going to soon release another video where we're going to talk about the Lambda, and in that case we're going to use some library. So I do have like a library, I believe it calls PDF lib, if I'm not mistaken, or lib PDF. And we're going to use this PDF lib. We're going to use this library as an example how you may upload the cloud function, create a cloud function using external libraries, and then execute them. So you literally do not need any server and nothing, as you saw. Really, right? You can just run it and have like for free spinning for you, uploading the files, and does the thing. So hope this helps, and see you soon. Please like and subscribe.